one and only thing that the Washington football team is close to losing, and this is Chipchat. Welcome to Chipchat.
Here we are.
I'm Chip, and with us via satellite is
I know. Here I am, Tez, back again in the box, back again in the screen.
Yeah, we sent him to go hang out with John Oliver in the void again.
Exactly. They are in the script location.
That's right. So tonight is going to be a wild night, in part because we have to do this in this very weird way. So I can see Tez can see me. And if you are watching at home, you can see both of us. And if you're listening, you have no idea that there's anything weird going on at all.
Exactly. Until you hear the stumbles and the lack of chemistry that we have from doing this remote. So sorry about that in advance, audience.
A little delays. It's fine. You know, we started this way.
Yes, we did. We
have this in our wheelhouse. It's doable. So tonight, we don't have a guest, but we have a story from who would have been our guest.
Right.
And we have my ability to randomly speculate about what he might say should we offer him the opportunity. So I'm going to be playing the part of our guest and myself in a way that will hopefully seem less schizophrenic than that.
No, it'll be okay. When you hear it, when you hear the story, you'll get it.
Right. So we're going to talk about the Tacoma Torch, which is one of our favorite fake newspapers. It's our favorite fake newspaper in Montgomery County for sure. The Washington Post notwithstanding. And then we are, speaking of the Washington Post, we're going to find out how close to the end of the world we really came, because it turns out it's even closer than we thought. Elon did something good for a change, so we're going to talk about that. He actually did two good things for a change this week, which is fairly impressive. And there was a cat.
There was a cat.
Yeah. I don't know how the cat got to where he was, but
yeah,
that's an all-American cat.
It is the all-American cat, yeah.
We're very proud of this cat.
Nobody falling from glory.
No.
Just maybe on it.
Fortunately, this pussy was grabbed in the nick of time.
There we go.
We were very worried, so we'll tell everybody about it. I was waiting for that joke.
I know. I can only imagine.
It all morning, and I was like, oh, this is terrible. Even I shouldn't tell it. But then, there it was. It's a great, terrible joke. Okay.
At least you're joking.
That's right. Block room talk. What do you think? I was just kidding around. All right, so that's what we're gonna do.
That is it. There.
Do you have anything to? Oh, we gotta shill some stuff.
Oh yeah. I forgot. This is the hour we try to get this out the way early, like they do in public radio, right?
Right. Oh, and it's about to be pledge drive on AMU, so it'll be a perfect time to listen to old episodes of Chipchat uninterrupted. People begging you for money, except for right now where we're going to beg you for money. If you want to buy some gentrified merch,
oh yes,
go to theripshop.com.
There it is.
And you can buy all of our stuff with our brand on it. And if you want to buy other merch, go check out the TacomaTorch.com. That's Tacoma with a K, not that weird Seattle one.
Yeah.
And go look for their awesome new shirts, which we are going to talk about heavily later in the broadcast. But we want you to go buy those shirts.
A programming note as well too on the our merch there. That rescue mutt is not included.
No, you don't get the dog. You just get right. We're not selling dogs on theripshop.com, to be clear. Or Washington, by the way. We're not one of them.
Oh my God. Don't I got just so many jokes right there. just
Look, I hear we're not to buy and sell people. There's more about this, which interestingly enough is going to come up later in the show. That is a big part of some of When I say this is the funniest thing I've been a part of in a long time, this is really, really funny. So yeah, we make sure you brush up on your Civil War amendments.
Okay.
You know, the two that I'm talking about.
Yes.
The 1-3 that's really important.
Right.
that may come up.
Just maybe.
Maybe. Okay. We shilled things. We told people to do stuff.
Download the app.
Download the app. Get the app.
Yes,
get the app. If you're already listening, you probably already have the app. Share the app.
Share the app.
Yeah.
Communicate with us, even though you might have already and we just haven't seen it or haven't responded.
Right. We are going to ignore your messages as we have been for years. And I don't know if was there anything else, Brian? Are we supposed to? Oh, the Rippies. Make sure everybody gets ready for the Rippies. They're coming up in December. They're at the Hilton on Capitol Hill. I'm hosting. I guess that means you're hosting or part, whether you want to be or not.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll be there.
And we're going to do a lot of great stuff. It's our own award show. We hope that everybody can come. We promise nobody will win anything that matters. And least of all, the worst new show on the network, The Download, or something like that. I don't even know what it's called. What's it called?
Is it
The Download? Okay.
It's a download.
I don't know. I don't watch this show. Nobody watches this show. It's getting 0 ratings. In fact, the people on it don't even know what time this show is because it's a terrible show, which everybody should tune into on Tuesday nights. I learned what night it's on.
The Download.
The Download. Only on the Radio Network.
I know who's on
What the fuck was that?
Yeah. It features our beloved CEO, who is yet to pay us. Just like the other Trump.
Peppercorns. They're on the way.
They have a lot in common, those two Trumps. Neither is actually president. And neither of them is nearly as successful as they think they are. So it's what's he gonna do? Shut me down, Brian? He's not even here.
I was gonna say you have to pull the plug.
By the way.
Okay. Oh, he is? Okay.
Yes, he's making fun of me by looking over his glasses and laughing, which is, how we do things. All right,
I'm missing out. I'm missing out.
Are you ready for? You've got your word.
Yes.
All right, I'm ready to be ready for Saturday, so I've got my word. So we'll see. We'll see.
Saturday.
We'll see if this works. So sit back, grab some
Diamond Tap.
It's Nazi bashing time. You're listening to the best show, the only show, Chipchat on Ripped Radio Network.
Sweeps.
All right, welcome back to Chipchat here on Rip Radio Network. I'm your host, Chip. With me via satellite is Tez. How's it going, Tez?
What's popping? I'm trying to work in between sneezes here.
There you go. In case anybody's wondering, I specifically wore the jersey that I had as the least offensive version of this.
Thank you.
Very small print, the R word, and I wore the only hat I have affiliated that doesn't have the word on it or the logo of not the guy that we're supposed to have anymore.
And I'm sure the folks who who represent a story that we'll talk about a little bit later will be okay with your you trying.
I'm trying.
I guess
the script R. It's the Joe Gibbs era, So like if you know what it is, you know what it is, and if you don't, it's just an R, and it's like that's legitimate.
It is just an R. It's just racist.
It says an R. For sure. Bobby Mitchell night.
Look,
and Pride Night Out. They are stacking all of the things.
Hold on, excuse me. Go back.
The Washington football team is playing right now at home in Landover at FedEx Field, and they are celebrating, number one, Pride Night Out. They had the Washington Gay Men's Chorus sing "God Bless America" or something. Latinx Heritage Month, which weirdly started in the middle of September.
Yeah, it's so weird that it starts in the middle and goes to the middle of October, right?
Not sure. Well, I think it's to bookend the indigenous people. I'm not sure. Yeah.
I'm going to leave that one alone. Yeah,
and also, it is Bobby Mitchell night in FedEx Field, where they are renaming the lower bowl after Bobby Mitchell and retiring his jersey. If you don't know who Bobby Mitchell is, you can be forgiven, because until it was convenient for the Washington football team to make a big deal about him, this was one of the most shameful things in their history, which is they finally integrated the team under duress in 1959. They didn't want to do this, but they were forced to by the National Park Service, of all people, because where they played was a national park, and that's how that happened. And Bobby Mitchell was the first black player on the Washington football team, and then he spent years as a executive for the team, but never achieved the GM status that he definitely should have achieved because, racism.
Right, exactly. There we go.
Yeah, but now we're trying to highlight how not racist the whole team is.
It's just OD too. It's just, they're going full force ahead with this.
We're doing everything at once, and all of a sudden we're really proud of Bobby Mitchell instead of begrudging. Like, he wasn't even on the Ring of Fame, and now they named a whole bowl after him. Like, come on.
When what's our conservative quarterback? Is it Heineke? What's his name?
Yeah.
When he came in and he was throwing a couple passes last week, I was like, George Preston Marshall is sizzling wherever he is right now with George.
Yeah, he was enjoying it for a minute. Well, and the crowd is enjoying it because, as you probably know, the most popular person in Washington is the backup quarterback of the Washington football team.
No matter who it is. John Beck or I'm trying to think,
or whoever. Like, if you're not the starter, we think you must be much better than the starter. And I have no idea how the math on that works, but that is definitely how we behave as a fan base.
That's the math when your franchise is devoid of a franchise quarterback for I don't know how long this has been at this point now. The 20-odd years. This is it.
String guy.
You bring in the starter, he's not playing well, or his hip is broken, and then you root for the person because you everybody thinks they're gonna have that Tom Brady that pops out after Drew, after Bledsoe.
You're either not in the league or you're a backup or like whatever. Famous Jameis all of a sudden got good now that he's in New Orleans. So it's only one game. I don't know.
Yeah, it's only one game.
Don't let that fool you.
But I mean, I heard he had LASIK though.
That makes a difference, and maybe
because he was always squinting in any interview I'd ever saw.
He didn't even mean to steal those crab legs.
He didn't see it. He didn't see the price.
Yeah, he was going for some bread, and it just his eyes were crossed, and he crab legs. He didn't mean to rape that girl either. It's just that he couldn't see.
Christ, no.
Tell me it didn't happen. Okay. Let's talk about another thing that didn't happen.
Yeah.
There is a guy whose name is General Mark Milley. He is the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. What you need to know about that, if you're listening, is that the military has basically a chief officer of each branch, and they are collectively known as the Joint Chiefs. And then there is a number one guy of that, which in this case is Mark Milley. It's been different people at different times, but he has been chairman of the Joint Chiefs for a while, including at the end of Trump's presidency. Milley's an interesting guy, kind of an exceptional guy. He spent time commanding the forces in Iraq and in Afghanistan and running Central Command, CENTCOM. He's been all over the place. He's also recently kind of got famous for picking up the critical race theory reins or whatever, or let's just say accurate history reins, and making a case that we should be teaching history properly, not just at the military institutions, but everywhere, because it helps us be a better country and, from his perspective, fight and win wars, which is,
that's right, exactly. And I can't be mad. Right, just from a practical sense of like defense of the nation.
Yeah, finally,
and it's always
had some value to the rest of us.
And we always seem to get back to this. We got to defeat the British, but let's how do we do that? We got to include the people who we don't really rock with in this country. Oh, the Civil War is going down. The rebels are gaining on us. What do we do? You know what? World War I. It's a seat.
Right. Yes, guys, quick, let the brothers into the army. Okay.
Yeah. They keep playing.
Can also die at the same rate as the, enlisted white people. So, yeah, he understands military things. Millie's also kind of a wily guy. He, as it turns out, he's a clever dude.
Yes.
So here's the things that happened. There's a book that some people got their first hands on their copy of today called Peril, which was written by Bob Woodward and Bob Costa, both of the Washington Post. Bob Woodward, of course, famous for Watergate and a bunch of other things since then. And Bob Costa spent a lot of time with Trump, reporting on him during the campaign and then covering him in the White House. And despite the fact that he tends to write down the things that Trump says to him, Trump continues to talk to him. And it's astounding, because when Trump says things that are very self-incriminating, Costa writes them down and they get in the Post, and then he rails against this. Trump rails against it, and he says it's fake. And then he calls him the next day and he goes, "You want to know some more stuff?" And then he tells him the stuff. So good reporting by the Bobs. We found out that Millie was really, really, really worried about this country.
Picture is so good.
Between the election and the inauguration, and specifically between January 6th and January 20th.
Oh, I wonder why.
You wonder why. So he did a couple of things that seem fairly unprecedented, but desperate times call for desperate measures. And I want to talk about those things. But there is also this other weird thing that came out of this story that has to do with Mike Pence. And let's all remember who Mike Pence is. He belongs to a lady called Mother. He is a former vice president from Indiana. And weirdly, in his moment of existential and constitutional crisis, he reached out to the only other person who shared those two things in common with him, a former vice president from Indiana. And that is to say, Dan Quayle. In his moment of panic, Mike Pence calls the potato himself, Dan Quayle, for advice. And I just want everybody to think for a moment about how desperate your situation is that you go, I got a call. Dan Quayle. That's who there's nobody else who would know. There's so many other vice presidents. I'm going to call Dan Quayle.
I mean,
great man.
You only go to your friend. I usually go to your friends list, and maybe
Well, Indiana's a fairly small state, I guess. He bumped into him at the
Oh no.
I'm gonna let that one slide.
Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, careful.
He's one of the few people Mother allows him to talk to, I guess. Dan Quayle is so boring. Mike Pence looks like hot sauce next to him. Yeah, I hope he's listening. Okay, so yeah, in the moment of crisis here, when Mike Pence was trying to figure out if he could avoid certifying the election, essentially, he calls Dan Quayle and goes, Dan, I'm actually thinking about undoing democracy. Is that okay? And listen to me clearly. I'm about to say a thing I didn't think I would ever say in my life. At that moment, Dan Quayle saves the republic. He goes, no, Mike, you have to do this. I had to do it when we lost. You have to do it now, too. There's no way out. Believe you me, we checked. And Mike goes, all right. And Mother goes, I told you I would like to get the hell out of this godforsaken Washington, D.C. with all of their rainbow flags and black people and get back to wherever the fuck Indiana we live. Because even Mother doesn't know. So that happened. Okay. Let's talk about Millie. What did Millie do, Tez?
Millie seemed to have to jump on some back channels after January 6th to talk to our good friends over there in China to avoid a catastrophe between the two top economic powers and also the two top nuclear powers here in this lovely earth that we're destroying.
So Millie is around Trump a lot, and he can see that he has turned even dumber and crazier than he had been for the whole term. And he's hearing all of them talk about martial law and the pillow guy and like, what can we do to power even though we've lost? And he goes, holy shit, this guy's going to launch a nuclear strike at China or something and provoke a war so that he can try to cling to power and say, look, we're in the middle of a war. The election's in dispute. We can't, we don't know what to do and whatever. It is exactly the plot of Wag the Dog or any other, Manchurian candidate kind of idea and stuff. But it's not that Millie thinks Trump has seen or read those things because he hasn't. It's that he thinks that the people around Trump are feeding this sort of frenzied idea that this could happen. So he does a thing that I checked with some sources, former high-ranking officers, even some of which were in the administration, who said that this was really unprecedented. He essentially calls the Chinese and says, listen, the country's still fine. We're going to not fall apart. I know you're very worried about this, but we've got this under control. And if there is going to be a strike, I'm going to call you.
I got you.
And warn you. And I'm probably going to derail it if it does seem like it's going to happen. So just don't react at all to this. And the Chinese go, whew, listen, Mark, your people are at it. And he's like, I know. Like, can we not right now? I've got this.
The Chinese, someone, because I'm dropping this every time. I'm like, look at your democracy.
Yeah.
if I'm there, because this is a battle of ideals. Like, there's your freedoms. There you go. Right. Exactly.
Yeah, wouldn't you like some of our repression now? They're saying that, but they're also not saying that. Like, if you learned anything from the Cold War, which some of us did, that the quote unquote bad guys, and in this case, we'll say that that's China, they really don't want to win. They really want the situation to be what it is. They like having the U.S. to blame so that they never have to have any responsibility to their own people. But they also like all the prosperity and trade and sort of general global stability that the United States has provided for nearly a century now. So
I think we like it too. Once the supply until the supply chain goes awry, because
we're fine with them being oppressive and committing genocide and stuff, as long as we got cheap widgets and can afford stuff.
Yeah.
We want stuff. They want stuff. It's all fine.
Yes, fine, quote unquote.
They claim that they're communist. They're just as capitalist as anybody else.
Yeah.
And if they can do it by exploiting some minority, who are we to judge?
Hey. Hey.
We were great at it for a while.
I was like, who took over the mass production of cotton in the world?
That's right. Yeah. Not the Uyghurs. So,
Christ.
Well, okay, maybe they did. I don't know. Voluntarily, they said.
Right. Oh.
So, Milley, who came up during the Cold War, he knew about this idea because the Americans and the Soviets had this deal essentially where they had this teletype system connected, so that if anything was actually going to happen, they would warn each other first and be like, "Yo, Nikita, I'm about to nuke your stuff. Love, JFK." And then Khrushchev would be like, "Cool, we've got enough borscht for a little while. Have at it." It's very kayfabe. It's very WWF kind of thing where on the surface we're all at odds, but in reality we know each other and there's a script to this.
It does, yes. Yes, exactly.
Which I know, if you're like Alex Jones idiots or all these things,
I know.
New world order, and it's not a new world order. It's not how it works. It's just that global stability is worth maybe having a conversation with your enemies.
I'll eat Mitch McConnell.
There we go.
It was all just a setup. So
that's all we're there for. That's all we're doing.
So Milley did all of this, but the Secretary of Defense and all of the civilian leadership of the military didn't know that he did any of this. And the way that nuclear strikes work is that the president has the authority to authorize or to order a nuclear strike. And Milley kind of short-circuited that. He basically called all the people who would be involved in actually executing the order, got them in a room, and he looked them each in the eye and was like, "If you get this call, you're coming to talk to me first. Got it?" And the guy would look him in the eye and go, "Affirmative, sir." And he went around the room and he's like, "All right, that's an oath." And they were all like, "Yeah, we got it, Mark. We also don't want to end the world. We're all on the same side here." And
wait. So they're the real oath keepers?
They're the real oath keepers. Yeah, the 3% of them, not all of them.
No.
Just 3% of them. That's terrible. I'm not a proud boy of that joke.
Hey.
I got all three at once. That's something.
You did that. That is, yeah. Jackpot. They might show up. They might show up on Saturday.
Also, I'm letting you know, you Nazi fucks, stay the fuck out of our city. We don't like you. We don't want you here. I don't care what nice Airbnb you found from some supportive white supremacist gentrifying the rest of our city. Get at. And if one of those idiots posts a picture of them getting a half smoke or something, they're like, "Well, welcome to DC." Fuck you. I hate you. I mean, a lot, but yeah. I hate you even more. Happy Yom Kippur, by the way.
I was going to say, you're right.
Sun went down. Fast is over. I didn't fast. Even had bacon this morning for breakfast. It's not good.
Okay.
I did it really wrong.
Stressful times, man. Stressful times.
I'm not doing great. What can I say? I'm atoning for my sins now. So, but yeah, don't show up, you idiots, or Mark Milley's going to nuke you or something.
Right. Exactly.
It was a crazy thing. And then, in the midst of this, Milley's also getting sidelined by the Biden administration because he was pretty sure that the Afghanistan pullout was going to go bad, and the Biden people were too arrogant to listen to him. And he was right about that. So he was right about Trump being erratic and trying to, seize power and unmake democracy. He was right about Afghanistan. This guy's right about a lot of things, but he's also kind of a rogue. So that's not great.
I was going to say, yeah, because I guess in the grand scheme, right, you should be happy that he did go ahead and make that contact with China. But I also, too, I guess that does undermine the commander in chief, quote unquote.
It's a problem.
It is a problem. I mean, there's been a problem for the last. Look, that whole administration has changed everything. All these written rules that are just on pieces of paper that we just follow on here. Someone chose not to follow any of this and threw it all into flux.
Yeah, we're confounded by this idea that people walk through rules like it's no big deal. Like, I have this restraining order, and like, fuck out of here. You know, they just like walk through it like it didn't even happen.
Also, too, we've given up this is a whole different show that we could do an hour and a half on, but the executive branch, just in general, right, way too much power. And the American people think that they don't understand what the executive branch is.
No.
They have no clue on what they think. It's a king. They do think that.
Well, they don't know anything.
Yes, get civics back in the past. What is it in this bill that mentioned? I think there's supposed to be some money for
like civics education. Is that there's been a few like bipartisan attempts at civics education, because I think Congress people in general are tired of fending off these questions that make no damn sense.
Right, like NSL government, one of my favorite classes I've ever been a part of. National, state, and local, man. It's very crucial to living in this society.
It's critical. And like, people have such a poor understanding of this stuff that they let us have a show. And
I know.
how we're the ones that get to.
I shouldn't be. Yeah, exactly. I shouldn't be your educator on this.
No,
it's not me. Like, not at all. It shouldn't be me.
To quote the great show Snap Judgment, this is not the news. This is about as far from the news as you can get. Glenn Washington, go blue, Michigan man. Okay. So Millie is a rogue and doesn't follow the rules, but he does it in the right way this time and the last time and the time before that. But there's no telling that he's going to like continue being, you know, like James Bond is sort of like never follows the rules, but he always seems to
save the day.
Save the day. So
kill some women, helpless women along the way.
Yeah, but you're gonna let him get away with it because you know he keeps the world from coming apart, and it's like, yeah, all right. What do you think Millie drives?
Ooh.
Apparently an Ultima.
Right, the brakes don't work.
Yeah.
What's I was gonna go with a Prius. That's our favorite show. Our favorite.
I was hoping you were going there. He's a very practical guy. He's got like a 2010 Camry that his kid took to college and then came back in, and it's still it's got 190,000 on it, but it's still killing it. So gets 30 miles to the gallon. He's fine.
I'm pretty sure on what is it? Why am I blanking on his running mate? Who was his running? It's got a Romney bumper sticker on it somewhere.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Right. It's got a Romney.
Who ran with Romney?
I don't remember.
Christ.
No, it was your boy, the P90X.
Who?
Come on, Paul Ryan.
Paul Ryan. Oh, that's who. Oh, Romney Ryan. That's what it was. That's
so boring that nobody can remember.
I was literally sitting there. I was like, who was on the ticket?
No, it was that ticket caught a cease and desist letter from Wonder Bread for being too white. They're like, you are boring. And they were like, Wonder Bread, that's so mean. And Wonder Bread was like, no, seriously, you're boring. We hate you. Okay. Nobody likes Mitt Romney or Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan, probably the most spineless shit sack this side of Susan Collins. Well, here's what we're going to do.
More than Boehner.
Boehner's not a spineless shit sack. He's a cranky old man who's like, you know what? You idiots deserve each other. And
that's I'll give you that.
That in his book. He was like, fuck you guys. You don't listen to me. I told you what to do. You deserve whatever you get next. I'm going to retire and drink wine. And he does. Proudly. I met him one time at a bar in Alexandria, and I didn't punch him.
Look, you're 2 for 2.
I'm 2 for 2.
You are 2 for 2.
Clarence Thomas and
leave Clarence Thomas alone if you see
him. Well, Boehner, you couldn't miss. He's the color of a traffic cone in the dark of a bar.
Well, I mean, I don't know if the libations have anything to do with that, but
He's bright orange, that guy. He's the inspiration for the Orioles logo. Okay, I'm proud boy of that joke for sure. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to do a quick little rundown about some news stories, and then we're going to talk about the local news story that is rocking the Beltway all the way from, let's say, New Hampshire to like Connecticut avenues. That part of the Beltway.
Right. I mean, maybe even further.
Yeah, I guess all the way over to 270.
Right, the ICC, like, yeah, right, up there where the ICC is.
There you go. From yeah, right. Gaithersburg. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with the second half of the show. You're listening to Chip Chat on Ripped Radio Network.
Sweet.
Welcome back to Chip Chat here on Rip Radio Network. I'm your host, Chip. With me is Tez, live via satellite.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Now we're going to do the part of the show. It's called the Rundown. We're going to tell you about some stuff that's going on in the news. Texas.
Hold on. Finally, after a few weeks, I should call you out. You've been missing the news part the last couple of weeks, so I'm glad you got that back.
Oh, yeah. Maybe I forgot to say it. I don't know. Did I?
I think so. I feel like I had that written down. I was like, what happened to the news? That's my favorite part.
Stuff that's going on in the news.
I love that part.
Wait. We have a fan. It's one guy. He's on the show now. That's how it works. That's good. We've got two listeners because he's remote. And
right.
Brian's over there. Okay. So Texas sucks.
Oh my God. Yo, all right. Go through this and then I'll tell you about some folks.
I really don't want to go into the explicit details about like which awful things have happened in Texas that are in this news story.
Yeah, please don't.
But what has happened is Merrick Garland has finally stepped in to do the thing. And the Justice Department is suing Texas, is in federal court, trying to get an injunction to stop the, I don't know what to call it, banning women bill. I don't know what is a good name for SB 8, because I don't even want to call it SB 8. It's Greg Abbott likes incest and rape bill.
That could work. I mean,
he supports it.
There's no provisions for it.
No provisions. 6 weeks, Greg Abbott. We should just put it. You know what? Never mind.
Yeah. Yes. Right.
So the Justice Department has sued the state of Texas last week to try to block this abortion law, which allows private citizens to file lawsuits against anyone who helps a woman terminate her pregnancy. Basically, they were able to get into court on this, saying that there have already been people who have been stopped from, prohibited isn't exactly the word, but like undue burden is the term of art in the legal parlance of this particular sort of situation. But the undue burden has been placed upon a constitutionally guaranteed right, which is the right to abortion prior to viability. So they can say that somebody's civil rights have been violated. They have enough cases of instances where people did things like had to travel out of state or were harmed in other ways that they can claim that they're standing to get into court. And so they have gone in to federal court seeking to have this thing sort of put on hold. The motion was filed Tuesday night. We don't really know where it stands at the moment. I think we expect something probably tomorrow or Saturday. I don't know. The timeline's a little fuzzy. Do you have anything on that?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the timeline is on it, but I would assume that eventually this goes in front of a federal judge and they're going to have to make a determination on this at some point. I would assume this would be before the end of the weekend, but I guess the law, just in general, I don't know who responds fully to this, because from what I've heard on it, it's like I see the argument the Justice Department is bringing, but I'm still wondering, how do you kind of attack this until someone actually, I guess, sues one of these providers, right? Because
I don't think they don't have to wait for that. What they have to wait for is somebody to have their civil rights violated. The feds can step in if it's a question of civil rights, and so if somebody who is constitutionally protected to, have
whatever
an abortion procedure or whatever, was somehow prohibited from doing so by this law, then the law has violated their constitutional rights, and therefore justice has the legal standing to go to court on their behalf, essentially. And we don't really know. I mean, that will be the first question, of course, that Texas will argue, that the feds don't have standing because they can't prove harm, and they can't, that the Supreme Court already didn't join this
right
early on because any sort of irreparable harm that they could find or anything, even though it's very obvious about the irreparable harm. But it's been enough time past when people could have gotten pregnant and needed an abortion since this law was passed, that they have been harmed by it. Think how this goes. Not a lawyer.
Again, but in which, again, just even back to your previous, but we shouldn't even be here because the Supreme Court should have, they should have did what they were supposed to do.
Not be here because somebody should have pushed Greg Abbott down the stairs. And Madison Cawthorn, the other person in a wheelchair for whom it is acceptable to torment, told everybody that flying on an airplane is a constitutionally protected right. Therefore, vaccine mandates for airliners are unconstitutional.
Wait, what?
As you may remember, Trump detailed the times that the Continental Army fought the Battle of LaGuardia and Dulles as they excised the British from our airports and saved the country or whatever.
And I'm pretty sure that's one place if they threw a mandate down that that is okay, like it, right? Because that's interstate travel.
Fucking shoes off. Like we all take our fucking shoes off and get X-rayed and everything. And it was like, I don't want to wear a mask. Like, don't worry, Maddie. Nobody wants to fly with you anyway. You've got to. Well, he can't drive because the last time he did, he was drunk and killed his girlfriend and blamed her for it, and then lied about going to the army so that he could get elected in a wheelchair. Although I hear they have ways for people like him to drive now.
I think you can go straight through the trunk.
Yeah.
I bet rolls right in there.
Paid for by socialism. That's the word.
That is it. Yeah.
Madison Cawthorn loves socialism.
Beware the socialists.
All right. So let's move on from how much we hate Texas to another story that definitely is happening in Texas. We have noticed the ivermectin thing, of course.
Yes.
This was when Alex Jones types were taking horse dewormer instead of the vaccine with the intention to Darwin themselves faster. I'm not totally sure what their goal here was.
My thing is if you're going to go to the extent to take, and there's dewormer for people. But if you're going to go, there is.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure folks in other parts of the world that aren't fortunate enough to have like the
big campaign in Bangladesh, for example.
Right, but you went as far to take something that's not given by a doctor; it's given by a veterinarian, which is a doctor, obviously, but for animals, and just take the vaccine at that point. Like if you're gonna go through all that, like just take the vaccine. I can tell you, I've had it, and I'm still here.
That's true.
I'm still here.
And I tell you that it doesn't cause infertility because my wife and I both had the vaccine and we're expecting a baby in January. So
look, here we go.
It definitely doesn't affect that.
Right.
Let me tell you, we're doing great.
My download speeds have been up since I got it though. Like going straight into my head,
like that 5G chip that Bill Gates put in.
Exactly.
All right, so they moved on from ivermectin to something that I actually know about. It's a thing that I have experienced. The brand name is called Betadine. It's an iodine soap. When I had knee surgery, the morning of, I had to scrub my knee with this stuff, and it says on the bottle very clearly in very big letters, like what not to do with this.
Oh, Lord.
And it says, like, don't even wash, sensitive areas of your body with it because it's too powerful. God. But iodine is, it kills things. It kills everything.
It does kill things. I was going to say iodine will get it out of there.
If you're of the right age and you got a little scrape or a cut in elementary school,
yes.
You went to the nurse and she had that swab of yellow stuff and she just all over it and it hurt like hell.
Yo, fire. It felt like
it was, because it was killing your cells. That's why. It kills everything. It's toxic. It's awful. Well, what are the COVIDiots doing with it, Tez?
They're taking it to help combat, COVID-19.
Yeah,
they're gargling it, aren't they?
They're gargling it.
Yeah, that's so bad.
They talked to a doctor who's an ER doctor in New York City and said, they said, well, what do you use Betadine for? And the doctor said, well, they use it to sew up, they clean out wounds before they sew it up. And then the reporter said, well, these guys are anti-vaxxers are gargling with it now. And the doctor goes, fuck me, of course they are. That's a doctor. That's a direct quote from a doctor, an ER doctor.
Look, this is what I'm going to tell everybody. Your terrible choices are going to be the reason when you break your leg in the future or you need a blood transfusion that we have no healthcare professionals anywhere in this country. Like, I hope the Afghan refugees we bring, I hope we got some doctors. I open up the immigration for because folks are not going to do that job anymore. How could you go back to this? It's going to
be like, you idiots are too stupid to deserve treatment.
Yeah, right. And we can't get to that point either. Because if you get to that point, that's that goes against the whole healthcare profession at that point.
Well, yeah, the Hippocratic Oath. And I mean, in my world, we kind of get to this point often, but we kind of get past it. We're like, look, if you keep flushing stuff, flush, we're not going to keep coming
out here,
clogging your toilet. But then we do it anyway because they need to have a toilet. Like, we're not monsters.
Right.
Okay. The reason the idiots are doing this is because they got this 2020 paper written by a Bangladeshi plastic surgeon.
And again, this is a 2020 paper, not from 2020.
Yeah, right. It was also not peer-reviewed or published anywhere. And has since been retracted by even that guy. And it was said it was, quote, just a hypothesis, and lab studies say that it does not work, and you shouldn't do this. But the manufacturer of this like throat gargle specifically state that it is not intended for ingestion, and that, quote, Betadine antiseptic products, including the gargle, have not been demonstrated to be effective in the treatment or prevention of COVID-19 or any other viruses. And if they are doing Betadine gargles, it is useless, said the doctors. This is hilarious. And if you are thinking about doing this in lieu of getting a vaccine, I don't want to be the one to stop you.
No.
But I would prefer you go get your vaccine. But like, if you're one of these people who just isn't going to get the vaccine, hey, I hear this stuff. It goes great with Four Loko. Like, just get it done.
Oh, no.
Four Loko's got a new product out, by the way. It's called Pregame.
What? No.
13%. It's just like a wine cooler, but without
13%. Okay, so it's down from its normal.
Nah, it's still up from Four Loko, but it's like wine. Wine is 12 to 13, so it's it's not hard alcohol, but it looks and is sold like lemonade. So it's fantastic. All right.
Well, yeah, go ahead and do not ingest any of this stuff.
No.
I mean, the Four Loko wine might be okay.
No, don't drink that. What's wrong with you?
I'm just saying that.
You know how many 17-year-olds that shit's gonna kill? A lot. Don't do that, kids. Get Coors Light like a decent child, and slam a few natties on the way to wherever you're going.
Yeah.
We're not advocating for underage drinking, by the way.
At all. Yeah, please don't.
Saying if you're gonna do it responsibly.
I was gonna say, folks are gonna get mad.
Yeah, all 4 of our listeners. What are they gonna do? All right. The last thing that we want to talk about in the rundown is Elon. Okay, there's 2 things about Elon. One, he launched a bunch of
I was gonna say and yes, and I love some space. So even though I find some of the things that Elon Musk does like completely like outrageous and terrible. This is what capitalism births. But they do launch people into space. SpaceX sends things into space. It isn't these fake. That's what I'll say.
Like they're doing the job. Like they are currently the main supply route for the International Space Station. They're sending people, they're sending stuff. They send like stuff to and from the ISS now so regularly it doesn't make news, and it's all completely unpiloted. So
the things land back down. Look.
All right, so just stick a couple people in it. Like the thing flies itself. Who cares whether it's flying toilet paper or people? It still does the job. So he did that. He stuck people in the capsule. At least a couple of them are pilots, maybe. And one of them's a billionaire. He paid for some of this.
Of course, that's the only way. That's the only way this works, right?
And they donated a bunch of money to like St. Jude's or something. So it's like, all in all, on the up and up, I guess it's sort of generally positive. If you're going to be like a jerky billionaire launching rockets, hey.
Yeah, like out of all the ones who did this, like I'm not mad at SpaceX. And Elon again gets too much credit for SpaceX. We know with the engineers and that they do the feats that they've pulled off is incredible.
Obviously, he's not the one designing the thing. What he's doing is funding the things and being supportive of the engineers, and that deserves some credit.
I couldn't help when I went to Cape Canaveral, I definitely have a Occupy Mars shirt, which and looking back on it, I'm like, why did I get this shirt? But
now you're
especially we're 10 years after Occupy Wall Street here. I think to Occupy Mars, which is like there's a lot of parallels and things that connect there that probably
I'm kind of feeling like we probably shouldn't, given our record occupying Earth. We pretty well fucked that one up.
But if this is the thing, I think space is undefeated, and so we'll try it out. But he launched these folks up in the air. I think they're going to be up there for 3. They're going to be in orbit for 3 days
in this little capsule.
They got good for your body. I don't care. You need training for this for space, and I know we're trying to
do some training. They had 5 months of training.
5 months? I don't care. Like, I just feel like once you go into space, there just needs to be. I don't know. 5 months just doesn't seem like it's a long enough time.
Well, like Glenn and Shepard had a lot less than that, and they didn't even know anything.
That's fair.
back when they were launching those guys into space, like they were using military test pilots because they were pretty sure that it wasn't going to work. And they needed the guys who could fly their way out of it if it didn't. Like, we don't know if this is a thing.
But doesn't a military test pilot put you at the G-force, like where you're closer? Like, I feel like your body is maybe more equipped. I don't think anybody's body is equipped to leave Earth. That's why we're born here.
As it turns out, nobody is. Almost everybody throws up when they're up in space for the first like hour or so. Because having gravity makes all of your digestion and everything sideways.
Yeah. Again, I know we're trying to do this. Again, if it makes air travel, if I can get to Australia in 30 minutes, then this is and it's not $30 million. I mean, then this made sense.
It's not only that, but I would literally jump at the chance to go into space. There's no question about that.
I think I'm on the opposite end of that. I can't.
Oh, no, I'm going. Like when I went to Cape Canaveral, I was like staring at 39A like, oh my God, I wish my kids sleep under posters of space shuttles.
I'm fully in, and like we both come from like the space shuttle generation.
Space shuttle era, man.
I was at basketball practice when what's her name exploded like that Saturday.
Yeah.
And so I remember just like, oh, this is ridiculous. But I just think I'm gonna be one of those people, like, God willing, 130 years old, because we're
gonna live now. Yeah,
exactly. Because I got that MNRA in my
yeah.
face.
Well, and you logo. I'm sure it's live.
But I think I'm gonna be like 80 or 90 and talking about like I'm staying here on this damn Earth. I came here on Earth. I'm gonna leave here on Earth.
You're
everything is burning around me.
Riding out a hurricane on the Alabama coast. Like, climate change is killing the planet. Come on, Tez, get on the rocket. No. I've got enough booze and toilet paper and a Leonard Skinner CD, and I'm going to sit here and wait and see what happens.
No, I just want, matter, what do they say? It's not created nor destroyed. So, I just want to go back into where I came from.
Yeah, sure, right.
But have fun in space.
Yeah. No, I'm all for ruining another planet.
I guess
ready to do that.
Ready for that?
All right, so Elon,
back to the actual story.
Week though, he didn't just fire off bottle rockets full of people. He also, I think he thinks he's doing a nice thing, and he is doing a nice thing, but I think he's doing it for the wrong reasons. There are states, and in this case, New Mexico, that prohibit car companies from selling directly. Basically create this need for a car dealership. And they have various reasons for this, right. But I think most of it is economics. Car dealerships employ a lot of people. They can often be engines for a whole town. They're important things, and they want to make sure that money stops a little bit in the local area before it gets to Dearborn or Flint or wherever it goes. So Tesla does not have dealerships. They sell their cars directly from Tesla.
Correct.
Much in the way I think that originally Apple only sold like iPods or whatever from Apple.
Exactly. And they have little Tesla retail stores you can go into, but the cars are not there.
Right. You can buy essentially a coupon that's yeah. Like when you go to CVS and you want to buy the good Sudafed, but you can't buy the good, so you can buy the little card for the good Sudafed, and then you trade that in. So Tesla was like, oh, well, we want to put a dealership, a Tesla store in New Mexico. And New Mexico was like, well, we don't allow for that because we're New Mexico. And then Elon was like, but I bet this Indian reservation would allow for that. So he calls up, well, he doesn't. His people call up one of the Pueblo Nations, I don't know what you call it, like districts or whatever, and goes, hey, can we put a Tesla store in your country? Because remember, they're sovereign.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, that sounds great. We'd love the revenue. And we're right across the border from New Mexico. In fact, we're surrounded by New Mexico. This would work out great for everybody except the state of New Mexico. which we hate because it's occupying where we are from.
Exactly.
And so they inked the deal, and bada bing, bada boom. There's a Tesla store in New Mexico that's not in New Mexico because of weird rules and treaties and stuff like that. Now, Elon did it to make money, I'm sure, but
yes, hands down. Yeah, of course.
It's a great example of how the sovereignty of these Native American nations within a nation, is legitimate. And I love these stories. It's not just fireworks, tobacco, and alcohol. Those are like the three things that everybody knows you go to the Indian reservation to buy and gamble, right? Because the US laws don't apply to you. But now it's like you can also buy really fast go-karts or whatever Teslas are. I don't know. They run, I guess, batteries or something.
Yeah, they run on batteries, so we'll figure out that's another resource we got to figure out as we try to move away from carbon. We got to go ahead.
I'm sure there are some minorities sitting on some lithium and cobalt that we can exploit. So don't worry, Tez.
Well, the cobalt's all in Afghanistan, but the Chinese can't figure it out. No one can figure out how to get to they can't figure out how to get these mines over there.
Yeah, you have to dig the poppies up first. Right.
Look how well we did with those over the last 20 years. Look at the
I hear it's going great.
Yo, I'm pretty sure the states like West Virginia
Lincoln had a whole week of testimony on the Hill where he said everything was fine. So I guess it's fine now.
Yeah, no, these again. The fact that
Rich of Idaho spent his entire time as the ranking member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee asking if there was a button that cuts off Joe Biden because he's a puppet president and not the real president. And I'm not making any of that up. An actual senator, the ranking member, would-be chairman of Foreign Relations, asked the Secretary of State of the United States 4 times if there was a button that cuts off the Joe Biden puppet. And Tony Blinken was so completely confused by this obviously stupid question that he laughed at him and he said, I don't know what you're even talking about, man. And that all really happened.
I missed this testimony over the week. I did not catch it. So now I'm going to go back.
You got to go back and watch that.
And watch that because
it's a pretty brilliant moment there.
These aren't supposed to be funny either. That's the problem.
Well, they are now.
They are. They've been for like the last 4 years.
Steve Cohen with the chicken still is one of my favorite things. Where he put a bucket of chicken where the witness was supposed to be. I think it was Bill Barr. Yeah, Bill Barr didn't show up. And so Steve Cohen put a bucket of chicken on the table and then proceeded to ask the colonel a bunch of questions, which then he shared the chicken with everybody because, he's from Tennessee. He's a nice guy.
Nice guy.
Yeah.
Share chicken.
Go on some chicken.
Yeah, I
wonder if he was conflicted about buying Kentucky Fried Chicken being from Tennessee.
I would ask. Yeah,
it's a big rivalry.
That's a big rivalry right there.
Yeah.
I'm always down for when the negotiations happen with the native nations of this country because it just highlights a crazier thing that even happens.
That it's even like a possibility. So like for years I had this ban on spending money in Arizona because of their being Arizona. And so when we were out there, we wanted to go see the Grand Canyon, but I was like, I don't want to go to the Arizona part of the Grand Canyon. So we went to a part of the rim that is within a Native American sovereign nation that had the Sky Bridge. And I didn't mind paying them to use the Sky Bridge, but I still didn't spend any money in Arizona. I spent it on the reservation, which is not in Arizona.
This shit is all just so backwards. I should be coming here I should be traveling from somewhere in West Africa to come visit the beautiful Native Americans here. Just to come visit,
and I should be eating couscous and falafel back home.
Yeah.
And iron doming some Palestinians, I guess. I don't know.
Well, that probably wouldn't. Well, yeah,
that would still be going on.
It would probably still be. I was just like, well, yeah,
that would still be fine. Don't worry. Our baseball team would still be great. Whole nother joke.
No,
Okay. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, we are going to talk about baseball, Montgomery County, and the funniest newspaper that isn't the Washington Post in the Washington area.
The funniest fake newspaper.
Yeah, the best fake newspaper that isn't the Washington Post. You're listening to Fake Radio. This is Chip, Rip Radio Network.
Sweeps.
You make no sound as folks gather round like shadow hounds. I see my sound as folks gather round and please you aloud. And right now, believe that no one has about your secret path, playing too much your string. And right now, believe that no one thought you had a lonely past, playing the strings so good. From mellow seas to houses on wheels, to slabs in wasteland, hand in hand. From yellow fields to slabs in wasteland, like bones in your hands. But I see tree that's standing high among the shrubs.
All right, welcome back to Chipchat here on Rip Radio Network. I'm your host, Chip. With me live via satellite is Tez.
What's up, y'all? I'll be back next week.
Okay. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to tell you the most amazing story in the history of comedy in the Washington, D.C. area in my lifetime, but we need a little bit of background information. The first is there is a website called onlyfans.com, which Brian is a big fan of, and was originally conceived, I think, as a way for like artists, dancers, or whatever to showcase, their thing, and that people could pay to say watch a recital or a musical performance. But it quickly became the home of explicit content, and it blew up. It was huge.
Yeah,
and
a
then,
great place for people to go ahead and for people, sex work, they could go ahead and have a place that people can go
sex
to.
Workers, and we want them to make money, and we don't judge, and we honestly
make your money and spend it in the economy.
So OnlyFans got famous for having sex workers performing on it and people paying for it, and it was all great until they decided not to do that for various reasons, which we have covered on other episodes of this show.
Download the Rip Radio app and you can check that out.
That's right. Good shilling. Okay. The other thing that people need to know is that there is I want to call it a town or something in Montgomery County, Maryland, called Olney, Maryland.
Yes, it's very far. It's very far up New Hampshire Avenue, or I guess Lay Hill Road. You can go as many ways you can go get to Olney, Connecticut.
It's Olney, Olney.
Olney.
It's kind of hard to say, and it's inconsequential to the rest of us, even if you live here. Like, I don't have any reason to go there. I've never been there. I don't want to go there. It's like nobody cares. Okay. At some point, the folks in Olney secured a baseball team that is going to be playing in the Cal Ripken Collegiate League, which is somewhere a little below single A or something like that. I don't know exactly. It's like a summer league. Okay.
I was gonna say collegiate. Like, what? How does that collegiate? But it's
Not sure the details, but suffice it to say, there is now about to be an Olney baseball team. Okay. That's the background that you need to know. The other background piece that you need to know is that there is a fake newspaper called the Tacoma Torch, which is mostly focused on making fun of Tacoma Park, Maryland, and the surrounding bits of Montgomery County for reasons that they entirely deserve. Because they are, I don't know how else to put this, but they're like, of course they are. They're the People's Republic of Tacoma Park. They're the only town, I think, in the world with a nuclear weapons ban, which is important for towns of less than 400 people or whatever they have.
Yes,
and 2-story structures because of Bethesdification, which is, again, very stupid.
As a person who spent a lot of time in Tacoma Park, it is a very, very, there's no other place like it anywhere else I've ever been.
It makes Berkeley look like Houston.
As a child, just a quick, there is a guy who used to walk around Tacoma Park, and I guess to protest like animal cruelty and like fur. It was like this dead fox he would just hold, and like I'm talking about Sunday farmers markets going on, people, and he would just walk down the streets, and like I remember being like 4 or 5 and just being like terrified. I think I have to look into. I think there was a time at one point someone was going around and like in Tacoma Park, like throwing red paint on like people's coats, like, and it's like early 90s, like fur coats and things like that. So those type of things happen in Tacoma Park.
Right. Okay. So Tacoma Park deserves the Tacoma Torch, which is written by a guy called Eric, who is a friend of our show. He's been on the show. He's co-hosted the show a number of times. He's a very funny guy. He's a decent enough person, despite his other very obvious flaws. Number 1, being affiliated with this show. Number 2, being a Notre Dame fan, and I guess I know it's terrible. I can't believe I'm friends with this guy. So
another logo that we can talk about.
Yeah, well, somehow they're not as offended. So he wrote this story, and I'm going to read you the story as he wrote it so that you can get the context about the thing that happened next. Okay? Olney, Maryland, Dateline. Within hours of going live, Olney fans, the website for Upper Montgomery County's new Cal Ripken Collegiate League baseball team, crashed this week due to unusually high web traffic. Quote, "We knew that starting a new baseball team in Olney would be popular, especially with males between the ages of 13 to 55, said marketing director Brock Jacobs. But when our site registration exceeded the entire population of Maryland after announcing a free foot-long on opening day against the Big Train, we realized our huge oversight. The increase in traffic was likely brought on by defectors from OnlyFans, a website where users subscribe to content published by independent creators and which quickly came to be dominated by pornography, as most things on the internet are. Moco web developer Steve Haynes believes that a recently announced ban on sexually explicit content on OnlyFans sent large numbers of porn-craving users in search of an alternative just as the OnlyFans page was launching, and confusion ensued. Quote, "When I saw the logo with a baseball bat and 2 balls, we just assumed it was code for a replacement porn site," said Trevor Parker. "Who could have known that we're going all the way actually meant something else?" After adding server capacity to prevent further site crashes, Olney administrators soon confronted a new problem on the OnlyFans user forum, where posters can discuss opinions on the team, the players, and other baseball-related topics. Moderators have been working overtime to filter inappropriate content, but have yet to determine if phrases such as "getting stuffed with the backdoor slider" and "make your knees buckle with the split finger" should be removed or not.
Lord have mercy, I'm about to bust.
It remains to be seen if the team decides to change the domain name, especially after amassing tens of millions of dollars in registration fees in just hours. However, should they choose to keep it, the team may be forced to terminate their 20-year contract to play home games at the Olney Boys and Girls Club. End of story. Okay, that's pretty funny.
I think it's super funny.
It's really funny, and it's
covered all the bases.
Yeah, it covers all the. Hey, nice, took a swing at that one. So while Tez is right that this story is like a good solid double, it's hardly going yard until something amazing happens.
Right.
It is that the Olney Baseball Club responded. Now, this is very much like all of the other stories on the Tacoma Torch website, which is to say, obviously bullshit, but well written and very funny. By contrast, the cease and desist letter that the Olney Baseball Club sent the Tacoma Torch is poorly written and not funny at all, except in an extremely ironic way. Yeah. We have a copy of it. Would you like to hear it? This is sent from a real law firm. I'm not making any of this up. An actual law firm with actual bar-passed lawyers decided to fight against, I don't know, the First Amendment and sent this letter to the Tacoma Torch. It says via email, the Tacoma Torch, RE, demand to cease and desist, to whom it may concern. This law firm represents Olney Community Baseball Team, Olney Baseball. Please direct all communications directly to my attention. If you are represented by counsel, please immediately forward this letter to your lawyer and have that person contact me as soon as possible. Olney Baseball has learned that the Tacoma Torch has circulated communications that use this is spelled wrong, by the way, that use the name or likeness of Olney Baseball in a false, misleading, or defamatory manner. For instance, on September 8th, 2021, the Tacoma Torch published an article entitled Olney Fans Website for Moco's New Baseball Team Crashes Due to Unusually High Traffic, in parentheses, the article. No one from or on behalf of Olney Baseball was contacted. Right, because it's a fake newspaper. Interviewed or consulted about the article. The article contains numerous false and misleading statements, and it misrepresents the Olney Baseball organization. For instance, and not by way of limitation, Olney Baseball, one, this is my favorite part, does not have a website. Let's pause for a minute. The crux of this lawsuit is that this fake story would somehow sow confusion and cause people to make a mistake and go to the wrong website when seeking stuff about the Olney baseball team. Olney Fans doesn't exist, and the baseball team doesn't have a website. Which begs two questions. One, what fucking year are they in? And two, if you don't have a website, why do you think this is a problem?
Right? They don't use a website. Use a website. Sorry, I know there's confusion between that word.
Yeah, right. Third question, what lawyer was willing to write this and didn't immediately stop there and go, oh, wait. But it goes on. Two, the individuals purportedly quoted in the article have no relation with Olney Baseball, and they are not in any way affiliated with Olney Baseball. Right.
Right, of course.
They're made up. Which is fine because this is America. Three, the individuals quoted in the article have no authority to comment or speak on behalf of Olney Baseball. Again, probably because they're not real. Four, this keeps going. Four, the article references a purported logo for Olney Baseball. However, Olney Baseball does not have any logo at this time. Again, completely undoing your initial claim that this is somehow confusing anybody, because it's not like they knocked off your logo, Olney Baseball. They gave you one. You didn't even have one. You're welcome. It goes on. Olney Baseball understandably is troubled by the article and your decision to
Sorry.
It has invested significant time and money to bring a collegiate level baseball team to the Olney community. The article already has caused confusion in the marketplace.
In the marketplace.
I
What?
know because nobody's gone to their non-existent website thinking that they were going to get baseball themed pornography. Also, baseball themed pornography sounds like an excellent subcategory. Brian,
Hey.
get on that. Since you published it, Olney Baseball has received numerous inquiries and complaints from people affiliated with the Olney Baseball organization, including sponsors, confirming that they now believe that Olney Baseball is in some way connected to the article, something you know not to be true or accurate. I'm going to call bullshit on that. There's not a chance, not a chance that anybody saw this and was like, hey, wait a minute. Also, again, referencing your earlier points, how would they know since they don't have an actual website?
I mean,
Goes on.
it's in maybe it's in the news, the Olney City newsletter or something.
Oh, don't worry though, we get to that. Given the number of misleading and false statements in the article, it is evident that you are improperly and illegally using the Olney Baseball name in support of your own agenda.
Oh, wow. Well,
It is nice to know that the comedy agenda has finally gotten as much derision as the gay agenda.
Hey, finally, we're trying to get back to funny.
Olney Baseball images reference to a purported website and purported logo, which again, by their own admission, do not exist, and quotes by individuals unaffiliated with Olney. Unaffiliated. They're not real people. Are not in good faith. I would say that's also bullshit. It's very much in good faith. This is a joke.
This is a joke.
Jokes are all in good faith. Your use of any name, image, or likeness of Olney Baseball for purposes of exploitation without my client's knowledge or permission violates federal and state law. Not cited.
That's what? Come on now. Where's the right? What
Not
law?
cited. No parentheses. No little codas. No nothing. State unfair and deceptive trade practice laws provide numerous remedies for deceiving or misleading consumers, including but not limited to injunctive relief, money damages, and recovery of attorney's fees. Again, no citation. The folks at Stein, Sperling, Bennett, DeJong, Driscoll, and PC attorneys at law, I wouldn't hire them to defend me in a traffic case right now. These guys are shit lawyers.
Very bad. Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, they couldn't throw it in Grammarly.
Rudy Giuliani bad. My client is continuing its investigation into the ramifications of your conduct and assessing the nature and extent of its damages. Well, the ramifications were that the rest of the country saw you overreacting to a fake newspaper story that was very funny.
It was really good. Like,
So that's going well. How's that going for you? It's going great, Bob. Thanks. All right. Olney Baseball will hold the Tacoma Torch and all individuals associated with the article responsible for all damages that it has suffered. In the meantime, however, Olney Baseball demands that the Tacoma Torch and all individuals involved in writing and publishing the article immediately cease and desist all activities, including, but not limited to, publication, dissemination, distribution, sharing, posting, and all use of or reference to the Olney Baseball name, image, and likeness in connection to any article, post, communication, and or comment, or whatever medium and in any forum. That is a very clumsily worded sentence. We, not affiliated with this in any way, are apparently excluded from this demand and can reference this all the fuck we want.
I'm going to weave this into every show.
Absolutely. Further, the Tacoma Torch is ordered to immediately. You can't order anything, lawyer guy. You're not a judge. They would teach you that in law school. Ordered to immediately remove the article from any and all social media platforms and websites, including but not limited to the Tacoma Torch social media pages and websites. I don't know how to tell you this, guys, but the internet, according to Al Gore, it's worldwide. Tez, you're a computer expert. Is it possible to scrub something off of the internet?
Only in your own mind. You can scrub it out of your mind itself, but it will whatever's on the internet is there forever.
It's there forever.
It's there.
Okay, let's see. The Tacoma Torch must instruct any other individuals and or entities that it shared the article with to immediately remove the article from their respective platforms. Fat chance. We here at Chipchat will not be cowed by some sort of bullshit fake lawyer from Stein Sperling fuck all. We'll defame them all we want. They're public figures now.
I'm on the website looking for my buddy, Mr. Schwartz.
Upon receipt of this letter, please confirm in writing that the Tacoma Torch will comply with these demands. If the Tacoma Torch refuses or fails to comply with these demands, then Olney Baseball immediately will pursue all actions necessary to protect its rights and will vigorously enforce those rights as necessary, including without limitation to filing a lawsuit, blah, blah, blah. Please give this important matter the urgent attention that it requires. Really? I look forward to hearing from you or someone on your behalf as soon as possible. And here's my favorite part. Very truly yours. And then the lawyer's name. Very truly yours.
Very truly.
Yeah.
That's the salutation he went out with?
That's not just a salutation. Yours. Things that are mine are like my car. Things that I am paying off are things like my house. You know, things that are mine are like my screwdriver. I own the things that are mine. That's what that word means.
Yes.
That's going to be important later.
I'm looking. Okay. Our buddy, Mr. Schwartz here. Well, no, Eric is our buddy. But Eric is our real buddy. When I say Mr. Buddy, Mr. Schwartz here. What position does he play on the team?
So that's a great question. I don't think he's on the team. However, the owner of the team is a stick in the mud, unfunny jerk. He's like an average guy, but he's not funny and has no idea.
An average guy, which is like almost all the guys. Every guy.
I mean, you know, he's like a backup second baseman. That's what he is at best. I'm like that guy who wears a Tony Rendon shirt to the game, hoping he gets called up. Is that a fair way to put that?
No, that's fair.
You sometimes, Tez?
No.
I still bring my mitt to every game. I'm ready.
No, I'm dead with that now. I'm just give me the beer and the hot dogs.
Put me in, coach. Still have those. Look, the best ball players were all drunk on methamphetamine and eating constantly in the dugouts. Look at Babe Ruth.
Or on cocaine. You know, that Mets team.
Hey, Doc Gooden, excellent pitcher. Also, excellent pitcher.
You really need to look up this lawyer, though. I'm having fun.
The Tacoma Torch wrote a response back as they were demanded to do, and
right, they were asked
with all of these orders and heretofores and wherewithals and whatever the fucks. Here is their response. Mr. Schwartz, thank you for your recent submission of a satirical legal threat. Even though our writing team found it to be extremely hilarious, unfortunately, it did not technically meet our qualifications of containing fewer than 300 words and having a punchy headline, so we will not accept it at this time. Perhaps could have used, quote, Olney makes history with first baseball team to lack a sense of humor, or even, lawyer has balls to make baseless claims against satirical baseball story. Either one of these headlines would have been acceptable. The Tacoma Torch would also like to take this time to express our sincere regret that your client does not yet have a team logo. The good news is we're willing to sell our custom Olney fans logo at a special discount of only $5,000. We currently use it to sell shirts, and this is absolute genius right here. To sell shirts to raise money for the Olney Boys and Girls Club. unless we continue to receive baseless legal accusations causing us to redirect those funds to defending our First Amendment rights as satirical writers. We're sure nobody wants that kind of bad press.
Christ.
Wink, wink,
So
nudge,
good.
nudge. Finally, while we appreciate you essentially giving yourself to us by closing with very truly yours, as a lawyer, you should know the Civil War amendments prohibit that sort of thing. See U.S. Constitution Amendment 13, Section 1. Sincerely, the Tacoma Torch, CC Barbara Streisand. Now, I am not the writer of the Tacoma Torch, but if I were, I would be feeling a lot of things right now. First of all, let's talk about how this is mechanically very funny. This is an easy, obvious pun. The OnlyFans thing, it's right there.
Yeah.
It's like they've got rule of 3 in the original story. They've got great puns in there. There's jokes about only $5,000. Like this checks all of the comedy boxes. It's got the dry, subtle stuff. It's got the very over-the-top punny stuff. It's got fake people with funny names with a lot of K sounds in them, like Brock Jacobs. That's a great, good comedy sound. It's got way past believable quotes that are very obviously jokes. It's gold. It's a golden article. It's written perfectly. That the idiots who run this baseball team took the bait. It's almost unbelievable. I mean, I couldn't imagine anybody falling for this, but these guys did. And that's hilarious. We have been trying for almost 7 years to get somebody to fall for something and punch down at us. And Eric pulls this off. He's only been writing for like 3 years. He's much funnier than we are.
Yes,
what we're saying.
Much funnier than we are. I don't know if Mr. Schwartz is going to make partner.
Well, yeah, I don't think he's already on. Yeah, he's not.
No, he's not.
I'm a little disappointed because judging by his name and the rest of the law firms, they're, members of the tribe. We're a funny bunch. Like, all the best comedians are either black or Jewish, right?
I've never found any of the lawyers funny, though.
I don't know. I know a lot of Jewish lawyers. Many of them are pretty funny. I mean, it's a good skill to have as a lawyer, right?
I would say it should be.
There's a lot of overlap between playing the dozens and making a legal argument, if that makes sense.
Yes, no, yeah, definitely.
And
I haven't come across the funny lawyers yet, though.
Oh yeah, they're funny. Many of them, I don't know. The ones I go to Temple with are, but
okay.
These guys, I don't know. I mean, they work at a fancy law firm. They wouldn't be caught dead in my shul, but I don't know. I don't know how stupid they can be to pick this fight. This is the dumbest fight you could possibly pick. You obviously got skewed. This is funny. You just go, all right, let it go. Take the free press. For God's sakes, any press is good press. Roger Stone was on the radio today live.
Yes, he got served
by a process server in the civil suit for him trying to incite the riot that nearly toppled our democracy. And he did it while he was on the phone doing the interview. He's like, oh, you're a process server. I know you. Give me the stuff. And the guy hands him the thing. He's like, it's a lot of documents. This is good. It's going to be a lot of fun to go through. Like while he was on the radio. Didn't even blink. This guy's got Nixon tattooed on his back.
Yes.
I mean, what a terrible person. But even he understands, hey, any publicity is good publicity. These idiots at the Olney Baseball Club, they've got no idea. Just no idea how great this would have been for them. And now they look like assholes. So we want to get them on.
Can we get them on?
Yeah, this is what we're going to do. We're going to extend this invitation. We, of course, can get Eric of the Tacoma Torch on our show. As a matter of fact, he's scheduled to come on next week to talk to us about how to write responses to cease and desist because he's apparently amazing at it.
Yes.
It is a master class. Welcome to our TED Talk.
Right.
Okay, but we want to extend this opportunity to the owner or manager or whoever it is of the Olney Baseball Club to come on our show, be amongst all of these real baseball people. Tez, you're a real baseball guy.
Yeah.
Eric plays baseball. I play baseball. We're all baseball people. To just be here and be like, yo, that was pretty funny, right? And then give you this chance to be magnanimous and go, yeah, that was all right. That was funny. You know, we took the bait. And like, you can decide. I think it's, to be honest, I think it's kayfabe. I think this is WWF. These guys got to know each other, right?
It has to be, right?
DC hardball community isn't that big.
No.
They've got to have run into each other, if not been actually friends. And they must have been like, all right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to write this thing. You're going to overreact. It's going to get national press. We're going to pretend that we like got this under control. And then we're all famous. Everybody wins, right? Ready? Break. Oh, wait, that's football. So I don't know. I mean, I want to get them on to interview them like that. Cause I mean, Tez, you want to put the screws to them? Are they faking this? Are they making this up?
No, I don't think they are. I don't think they are. That's what makes this even more funny is that I'm pretty sure they're very serious about this. I feel like I need to give Mr. Schwartz a call just to be like, you know, find out a little bit more around this. Maybe he wants to come on and defend this cease and desist letter.
We have a lawyer for this show, but I'd be willing to change. We can fire her in favor of Mr. Schwartz if he can
We got to figure out
gold for us like this.
We got to figure out used and used. So
this guy is so funny and he doesn't even know it. Maybe that's his comedy genius. I think they're Andy Kaufmaning us both. I think they're in on this and we're the mark. I think that's what's going on here. But
no way. We'll see. It's Montgomery County.
We're going to get him on the show. Eric's going to be here next week.
There we go.
On baseball, this is your opportunity. Come and set the record straight. You know, we are your only fans at this point. I bought one of the shirts. Go to TacomaTorch.com. Go buy your shirt. They have raised a big pile of money for the Boys and Girls Club. Like a big pile.
Everybody wins.
It really worked out pretty well for everybody involved. All right, you hear that music, which means we've come to the end of the show. We didn't get to do the fourth half, and that's probably better for everybody. So we want to say thank you to the Tacoma Torch and everybody involved, all of the brilliant writers over there for this comedy moment. I don't even know what to call it. I expect Chappelle to be calling us any minute. All right. Thanks to our radio partners, Stitcher, Apple Music, Google, Amazon, all those guys, Pandora. Thanks to NOTN for keeping us on for another week. We assume they didn't get mad at us.
They haven't got mad at us. Thank you so much.
That was pretty nice. Speaking of Louisiana, new thank you to add. Thanks to our digital media consultant, Key Wayne, Baltimore.
Hey.
Fidell's Most Slept On is going to be helping us with video distribution and all kinds of things that I don't understand. He's much smarter than me. Thanks to our home on the interwebs, coplaymedia.com. And thanks, as always, to our family here at Rip Radio for making us sound as smooth as Fitzmagic's hip. Heineke's still in, by the way. We're losing. Too.
Of course. Come on.
Of course we are. Because, you know,
the Giants.
Football team can't win. Okay, Tez, where can everybody get you on the socials?
You can find me on Twitter at DC Cortez, on Instagram at KetchumCordy.
There you go. And you can find me on Twitter at Chef Chip. You can find the show on Twitter at ChipChatRR. And you can find us on Facebook or Instagram at Rip Chipchat, all one word. And you can, of course, find us every Thursday at 9:30 here on Rip Radio Network. I'm Chip. That's Tez. You've been listening to Chip Chat on Rip Radio Network.
Whoops.